Hello, hello, and welcome back to another week of the CEA. We are in, well, technically speaking, week 1, as we did have that week 0 preseason match last week. Was a pretty fun one, and you might have noticed I am joined by a different co-caster here. This is not Behemoth. This is the legendary Lucas Tenshi Collard. Hey, you're a legend in my books. How are you doing, my dude? And welcome to the CEA.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here. Very, very excited that you asked me personally, like, hey, do you want to do this thing? As I've sort of been out at the StarCraft loop for a couple of years, I'd say. Just recently, a couple of months back, I did some work with Cheesadelphia, but other than that, it's been fairly dry on the StarCraft front, so I'm really keen to be back, man. Thank you so much for having me on.
No, it's my pleasure. They said you can have anyone you want throughout history. I don't even know how they did it, but they were like, if you want Abe Lincoln, we'll make it happen. And I was like, okay. Can I get Tenshi? And they were like, that one's going to be tough. He's a really, really desirable person. But I was like, well, can we make it happen? Like, you just offered me Abe Lincoln. And I want one. It's only like a couple steps above. Like, it can't be that hard. And they pulled some strings. I think Biden might have been involved. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the transitional phase in between the two is it's quite vague, but I'm here anyway. I managed to find my way here.
Exactly. And I am just so happy to have you on. And we've got a couple of pretty cool matches today. We've got, of course, the corporate match and the collegiate match. Starting things off today, it is going to be, well, technically, we ended the season on a banger with 0, and we are starting the next season with a banger as well, with 0 once again. It begins at the end, any Harry Potter fans out there. We have Shopify, not Spotify, and I'm not just saying that, that's the name of their team, which I freaking love, by the way. I think that's hilarious. Versus Epic Systems. Systims, spelled S-T-I-M-S, very clever, of course. Two companies that have been with the CEA for a while. And, well, Tenshi, I know that you're the hyper analyst. You've done a lot of homework on these guys. So why don't you just tell me about every player's scouting report? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, Christ.
Just absolutely put you on the spot. That'd be hilarious. But no, these guys are super, super cool teams. They've been working together for quite, or been in the league for quite a while. And, well, we are going to start things off with 0 actually playing his off race. He is going to be playing Zerg today. He is normally a Terran player.
Why is he opting into off race? Is that because he wants a more even game, or what's going on here?
I think it might be a little bit that.
Curious.
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit that. Also, it's possible that because... so this one's a little bit funky. Unfortunately, the original player who was going to play for Epic Systems was not able to make it today. So this is technically going to be a forfeit loss. But for the sake of making sure that we can have a fun game, we agreed between the two captains. We're like, we'll give Shopify, not Spotify, the point. But let's just play it out anyways. Let's play it out. And so we are going to be having one of the players for Epic Systems stepping in here. It's going to be MXG Lazender. And we're going to be able to get a TVZ for this one. Now, I think they had already submitted their player as Zerg anyways. So kind of a little bit funky, but, well, I mean, regardless, this is going to be pretty cool, I think. And without further ado, we're going to get right on into it. And I guess I will introduce our first player in the bottom right, rocking that Team Ascension tag, but representing Epic Systems, it is Lazender. And why don't you introduce our second player up in the top left?
Yeah, gladly. And of course here in the red trunks top left on Imposter, interesting map, it's going to be none other than 0.
0, of course, the ace of Shopify's team. Shopify used to be the dropshippers last year. They are now, as I said, Shopify, not Spotify.
Yeah, but that immediately begs the question, because we just saw Shopify Rebellion, like the new Esports team. Is there any connection between the two there?
Well, I mean, Shopify does sponsor this league. And They have done a lot of stuff for StarCraft 2, but I don't think we're going to be seeing Lambo, Scarlet, or Beyond making any appearances in this.
I was hoping.
That would be amazing. They just roll up with a third team and just crush through this charity league. Like, just absolutely murk it.
Would be such a BM thing to do, but like there's absolutely been instances of like, hey guys, we're putting on a fun community thing, and then one team is like, oh yeah, we have Lambo. You know, it's like, God. But
yeah, just ridiculous stuff. Like, and yeah, I don't think we're gonna have that, but it would make for quite the meme if just one week they just showed up with that.
Okay, well, Steadfast, immediately, let me ask you, what is this map? I have not seen this one before.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So normally, of course, most tournaments use ladder maps, just the way it be. But CEA does something very, very cool where they will include Team Liquid map contest maps. So this is one of those situations, and it is you can see it's a pretty long map. Kind of brings to mind Catalyst, but I would say the biggest notable thing is look at this Grand Canyon through the middle right here. So many cliffs overlooking that, and so many spots where you can just run into problems.
Yeah, like the first thing that really stands out to me is the way that you've effectively got it set up in 3 major lanes, if we don't count the ones going all the way out onto the sides there, like left, right flank. But you've effectively got this speedway that goes all the way through the center of the map, which means that even though the map is fairly large, I think that can be a little bit deceiving because you're going to be getting across very quickly, especially if you take into account that potential for creep spread.
Yeah, absolutely. And then because looking at the other side of it, you could have Terran parade pushes that try and come just straight up the gut and get there very, very quick. And that opens the pathway for something like burrowed banelings to be incredibly effective there. Now, talking about the builds a little bit here, we are going to be seeing MXG's Lazander going for a 2-1-1 here, channeling his, as we mentioned him, Inner Beyond with the incredible throwback build. And, I mean, Zero, he is actually a player that I've played against on the ladder a fair number of times, and he actually went for this build very, very many times. He was a big fan of this build, even after it kind of lost popularity. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he responds to it on the other side as the Zerg player instead of the Terran.
Yeah, I was going to say, because like there was a point in time where we did see this fall out of favor, more so for the 1-1-1 style kind of opening that was more tech focused. But now in the past few weeks, months, I'm not entirely sure about the time frame, but we've definitely seen more players start bringing this back, which is always really interesting to follow the shifts in the meta, right? Because from time to time we will see these throwbacks to times that came before them, right? And I guess now once again we're back in this, like the 2-1-1.
Yeah, I would definitely say at like the pro level, it's not as common as it once was. There is a variant that TY came up with, which is really, really powerful, where you go super fast third command center, and then you hit with a 2-on-1 like 30 seconds later than this build. But this pure 2-on-1, yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting to see what these two players, how they clash together with this. Now, Zero did see this coming very early on, so he's got a ton of queens, he's got a good number of drones, and a bunch of lings on the way, and even adding on a baneling nest. So I'm going to be really, really interested to see if Lazander could find any damage at all, or if Zero is just going to be completely on top of it right out of the gate.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at that unit production tab, you could already see that we had a handful of lings made, banelings being morphed, additional queen being squeezed in here as well. And Zero already has a very good queen count. And look at this overload spread. He's not going to get blindsided by anything. You can see it right here. Lazander has to unload. Now he's going to slowly make his way forward here. I think maybe at best he'll be happy with picking up a couple of overloads, but I don't really expect him to be able to get any real tangible damage done here.
Ooh, look at that baneling snipe coming down right here.
Nice.
And another one. Oh my god, is this GSL? Oh, he almost gets another one. Does take a little bit of a splash right there, but only loses 4 Marines. And I want to note that was a really patient stim from him as well. Now the queen count is still going to discourage this from getting out of hand, but that was a nice little start for Lazander. But even despite that, Zero is in a fantastic position, I feel, coming out of this.
Yeah, I mean, you could immediately see it right there, right? After that first initial connection and contact, he immediately jumps onto making more drones. And now we see that fourth hatchery immediately getting dropped down as well. His lair is done. +1 armor starting as well for the units there. So the position right now, I think, for the Zerg, very comfortable. You've deflected that first initial pressure, which is usually going to be one of those things that, like, either it does damage or it doesn't. And he's on the better end of that state.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a nice defense overall. Now this is pretty nice. Finding the cancel here, keeping these Marines active, and he does have much faster upgrades. Like his 1-1's finishing, and the Zerg player has upgrades that are only about a quarter of the way through. Now his armory is a little bit late, not ideal, but he's still in a good position, I would say. Lasender, that is, especially if he can continue to make these drops find value.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, coming on in here. Already killing a few more additional overlords. Going to jump forward, see if he can take down the queen. Has to be careful, but does lose the full medevac. Oh, that one is always rough. See if 2 Marines can get the council on his hatchery. I mean, with Stim and +1, then maybe there's a chance.
Yeah, no, I mean, Stim and +1, like, they are very, very powerful upgrades. But like you said, 2 Marines is not a whole lot. Now, this is really nice. Zero's actually had great creep spread. It will get cleared up here a little bit by Lasender. And there we go. Look at the queens. Oh, finally they clicked that medevac. There we go.
But like the raw healing power of the medevac, keeping that one Marine live, getting hit by like, what, 4 or 5 queens at once?
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
That was a bit of a meme to watch. Zero, though, up to a very nice drone count. A very nice drone count. Nice. 69 workers right there. He is starting to let his macro slip a little bit. This is the same trap that I fall into once I get up to a good worker count. My money just gets out of hand. But he is still in a great spot.
Easy. Okay, moving across though. Has added in an additional tank, a single Widow Mine as well for good measure, and more units streaming across. And this is what we were talking about there earlier, right? Look at how quickly he's getting across. Jumping right on top of these queens. A lot of additional creep tumors as well about to go down. More Lings start moving on forward. 1-1 has finished up here now. He's going to be forced into this choke point. It's going to be so hard. That's a brutal mine connection.
That is the farthest I've ever seen a mine reach, and it was speedlings on creep moving through a speed zone. And look at where the blood is relative to the Widow Mine. That's actually hilarious to look at. Oh, I love this from Zero, though. He is going to be moving around with a devastating counterattack. This is a full rally across the map, and that's going to be a lot of dead SCVs and an armory turnaround forced by Zero.
That's the big one here for me. The fact that he actually buys so much time, because now you can see he's going to be able to build up that Hydralisk count a little bit. It buys more time for those upgrades to potentially get an opportunity here to equalize. Honestly, I'm very pleased with what Zero is doing right now, especially this focus on making sure that he has this creep and all the vision over towards the sides, because I think that would be like the main avenue that I'd be expecting the attack to be coming from. Because even so, with this speed zone down the center of the map, Zerg still very mobile. You can go for those big wraparounds. But now this time, as you can see, Lazada has moved over to this right-hand side, and now with these tanks in these positions, it's going to make it quite hard to break this position. But once again, the Link stream on in towards this third base.
Yeah, and, well, it could come into an all-in situation. Now, that's going to be enough Marines to push this away, so not going to be the case. The fact that these rocks are still up, though, is actually a big problem for Zero. And we do have 2-2 done now for Lasender. Zero, he is in some pretty big trouble, I would say. Feeling the wrath of the Terran right now. These tanks, I wouldn't even mind if they moved a little bit further forward. Oh, a lot of units going to get taken out here before the fight even starts. Ooh. Oh, nice Baneley connection, but this is now just attacking from a single direction, but there, Baneley's coming in from the right. These tanks, though, are getting so much done, and I think, oh, last Baneley's coming in on the right side, just enough to take out these Marines, and that will be a cleanup in favor of Zero. And he gets the medevac.
Oh, and even the last one there for good measure. However, still very costly. If you look at those resources lost, sure, he has a great economy, but that's usually what you see grind down the Zerg, right? Like, you take a couple of those engagements that, yeah, maybe you push the Terran back, but as long as like, you're still in that position where you can't hit the economy of the Terran, it's always going to be one of those things that gradually, in the war of attrition, will usually be on the losing side. Now, mind you, we haven't actually seen a fourth base established here for Lazada. Now, this CC is on the way, but it's quite late. Like, he was really committed into that attack, hoping to do much more.
more.                                                                                                           Yeah, definitely. He put a lot into that attack, and I think he could have found a little bit more if he had either 1 or 2 Widow Mines with that, or that last tank that had reinforced. If it had been sieged up, that would have been so good for him. Now, we are going to see this Ling run by. Once again, will get stymied. So nice job right there from Lazander. And this is another kind of scary position right here. Oh, 4th command center gets canceled. That is a huge find. 4-0 right there. Really, really great stuff.
Yeah,
and he has been
so important. So important that he makes sure to keep denying that economy. Lazander is effectively going to be forced into an all-in. Now moving on forward once again. Creep with his speed zones. You can see all these moves just getting absolutely annihilated. Widowmine gets a great connection once again, but is it really going to matter his third boss? I don't know.
I don't think so. That was a huge portion of Lazander's army getting taken out right there. And now we see the army supply and army value grossly different in this game. It is a massive difference. Finally, by the way, Zero did take out those rocks that made that one attack earlier. So powerful. And I mean, he is just cruising right now. And look at this, he's going up to lurkers and a hive finally. Now, there will be a significant timing where Lazander's 3-3 is done against his opponent that doesn't have it. Double scan coming down to check on the potential of a 6th base. But, yeah, this is still going to be such a huge hurdle to overcome here for Lazander.
Yeah, I mean, primarily it's that massive economic deficit, right? Like, first and foremost, you got that 4th base cancel earlier on, which he was very happy about. I'll come back to that a little bit later. Attempted a counterattack here from Zero, not going to find much. Gets himself like, what, 1 tank, and then he's forced to retreat once again. But it's the fact that after that initial cancel on that 4th base, he didn't really manage to do more economic damage. The 5th base went up completely uncontested. Now he's going to hit this, so he's going to be able to get a couple of nice drone kills here at least. But, I mean, already we've seen that Zero has been mining from this base effectively, unharassed for quite some time. And he's already got, like, a massive economy.
It is a really big economy. Now, that was a pretty nice little bit of harassment. 9 drones going down is nothing to shake a stick at. But I will say that, yeah, he was able to quickly rebuild 6 of them. Oh, this is a nice find for Lazander. Nice. Only losing a single Marine right there, I think. Getting a lot of his opponent's stuff, and will secure this 4th base behind it.
What, like 15 banelings for a single Marine? Yeah, I'll take it.
Man, those are some beyond trades right there.
Do you remember that? Like, the year that he won BlizzCon? And just time and time again, like, absolutely insane moves like that with the timing, dotting forward with a couple of Marines, picking up those banelings. Soccer is such a cool game, man. It's always one of those things I get back to and I really find out that I missed it. Now, counter over towards the natural. Will break through with help of those banelings, and now he can start hitting that vulnerable SCV line simultaneously. This attack over towards the right-hand side, getting absolutely smashed to bits. The Lurkers move forward, burrowing, and every single tank is going to go down, and that's it. Lazander just instantly taps out of that game 1.
That was a great game number 1. I'm really glad we got the players and teams to actually go ahead and play that one. That was a very cool game number 1. And, well, we're going to be moving right on in to game number 2 here. Like I said, it was technically already decided on the point anyways, as the captains had agreed. But still, very exciting game, and neat to see Zero kind of having just a good time playing Zerg. It's clear that he understands how to bait his opponent's attention, for example, and that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
You said Zero was Terran main, right?
He is, yes.
Yeah. One thing that I think really stands out to me watching him play is just the one thing that always translates fairly seamlessly between the factions, between the races, and that's, you know, the mechanical aspect. If you're a good mechanical Terran, then you're going to be a decent mechanical Protoss and probably a fairly good mechanical Zerg, right?
Yeah. Now, of course, stuff like injects and building drones, it's a little bit different than, let's say, just constantly producing SCVs or probes. But we can see that Zero had it down pretty nicely there. Obviously, you know, not perfect, but pretty darn good. And that's always impressive to see when you do see that from another player. And well, game number 1, even though it was already decided, does still go in the direction of Shopify, not Spotify. Now, second game is going to be Lazander once again. playing in his quote-unquote proper match, and he is going to be going up against Bugs. Bugs with a Z.
Terran? That is what I want to know.
That is a good question. I'm not actually sure. I would assume that Bugs is probably Zerg, just, based on the name. But I'm not 100% sure. Once again, want to say a big thank you to the CEA for bringing us on here. Always a pleasure to cover StarCraft matches in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, I want to talk a little bit about what the CEA does as well. Of course, it does stand for the Corporate Esports Association. They do a lot of awesome stuff. It's basically a for-fun league between corporations, and they are playing for charity, which is amazing. First of all, very cool that the CEA organized that. But yeah, I'm just really glad to be a part of it, and hopefully it's going to be pretty fun. Okay, looks like it's actually Future Knights is the player for game number 2. So
okay.
Lazander with the opportunity to potentially even the scoreline here for his team, and that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It's going to be a TVZ again. So, like, I'd assume that now he has no excuse that he say, I'm not warmed up, right?
Yeah, exactly. If anything, that may actually have been... It all depends on, mindset a little bit, but
that's true.
That may have actually been one of those things where it is actually, like, a good warm-up game, because it's like, oh, wow, like, I actually pushed a really strong macro player who's the ace of the league, even if they were playing off race, to their limit. And
if the way he played out that early game into the early mid game looked fantastic. It was just all about finding that transitional period that I think he sort of mismanaged. For instance, we want to point out the lateness of the 4th base in conjunction with the fact that he didn't manage to successfully find that 5th and start poking over towards that. And after that initial 4th base cancel over towards Zero's side of things, there wasn't really much more going on there. But that's when we start, branching out in many different directions. But if we just look at that in a vacuum, the first, let's say 6 minutes, I think he played that really nicely and it looked very clean with his decision making. So I think he could actually, shows a lot of promise. Sure.
Oh, for sure. I would agree with that 100%. And, well, we are going to be getting into game number 2 immediately here, spawning up in the top left position. You already saw him in game 1. Now he's playing for realsies. It is representing... Oh, sorry, I just had to fix the overlay. Representing Epic Systems, it is MXG's Lazander.
Yeah, I have a question for you after this, but of course his opponent down in the bottom right, sporting the green colors, is going to be Future Knights, repping Shopify, not Spotify.
And yeah, go ahead, shoot.
Yeah, so, never mind, I blanked, whatever.
Oh.
I'll come back to that one later, because it's one of those things, like, yeah, okay, you blank for a moment, but then in the middle of a really good engagement, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, Steadfast, by the way, that thing. So, I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated.
Sounds good. It do be like that sometimes. If I had a nickel for every time I've interrupted my own train of thought.
Oh god, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Wait,
by the way...
yeah, sorry, go on.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I want to say a big thank you to the one of the members of another team here. Damn Glam made a logos mod for all of the teams here. And you see we are using that right now. We've got the Epic Systems name, as well as Shopify, not Spotify, with that logo. You can even see the... charities that they were supporting. So we got Shopify with the Against Malaria. I could not quite read, unfortunately, the Epic Systems one, but I've got it on a Google Doc, and yeah, we can talk about that a little later.
Yeah, for sure. I got the feeling that you were sort of on your way to blanking in the exact same way that I did. I was like, that's going to be funny if he does. But hey, we're here on Death Aura, a map that I'm actually very familiar with. So that's at least something. And Lazander, just like we saw in that game versus Zero, he's going to go for that 2-on-1 opening.
Yeah, and it looks like this is a little bit of his comfort zone. I don't... I wonder if Future Knights will be kind of expecting that, since he did obviously go for it in the previous match. And, oh, very bold Creep Tumor coming down from Future Knights, but Lazander not going to go for it, and it will get down. Does get that third hatch down as well. Now, what do you think about the decision to go for this twice in a row?
Honestly, if that's what you're comfortable with, I think that's probably the best thing to do. In an extended series, in a best of 3, best of 5, whatever, I definitely lean into trying to squeeze in some variation. But you're effectively doing quick best of 1 like this, right? It's are we doing all kill, or is it set up to be like set matches?
It is Clan War style, so it is best of 5 Clan War style. The teams actually have knowledge of what their matches are. I believe they figured out on Monday. And there is actually a ton of preparation that goes into each of the matches, and it's really cool to see how they put so much effort in, and it's yielded some cool results as well. For example, last season we actually had a gold player beat a diamond player with a 12-pool drone pull build.
Yeah, I love little things like that, right? When you have some time to prepare, and then you can really get inside your opponent's head. We'll see if that's something that's going to be coming out here from Future Knights right then, because obviously going into this, like I saw in the lobby, that Future Knights, he was Diamond. Lazander already showing a strong performance over towards that previous game versus Zero. Yeah, not really sure if he's like high masters, mid masters, or whatever, but just judging by looking at that first game that we saw, I would sort of put him somewhere in, you know, like maybe 5,000 MMR, somewhere around there, like, you know, fairly decent Masters player.
Yeah, I would say maybe like 48 to 5,000. Definitely looked pretty darn good. And I think the fact that he already built that Baneling Nest, that he's been pumping Queens pretty hard, shows that he is taking this seriously. Now, we already do see a little bit of a mechanical difference between Zero and Future Knights. If we look at the drone count, for example, we see that it's a little bit lower going into this from Future Knights. So even if he does deal with this, not going to be quite as good of a position as he could potentially be. That doesn't mean he won't win this game, and that doesn't mean that he's not a good player. It's just highlighting why Zero is the ace of the entire league.
Yeah, but it's always going to be in these small intricacies that may end up making the big difference, even though the game plan is somewhat similar. Now, moving on forward, you still have a very healthy queen count here coming out from Future Knights, jumping onto that first high-end queen, and this time instantly pulling away, not ending up, you know, losing half of the Marines in one of those medevacs like we saw there in that previous game. Still, though, I want to say Future Knight, he's fairly nicely prepared here. He's got decent creep spread going. Instantly, you can see he jumps into making 14 additional drones. He starts that lair. So, not too bad. Hasn't really taken massive damage just yet.
No, not at all. Now, I will say, and he did build a good number of drones during this once he got out what he needed to hold this off. And still, like you said, has an excellent queen count. He's up at 8 queens. Now, he did pull all 8 of them to the front, which means a little bit of time where he's not injecting, and that is indirect damage.
That's a good point.
But I will say, just overall, Lazander does look very, very comfortable with this build, and I have to say, I respect the choice to go for it. I think it's cool. Does have, of course, that third command center on the way. It will have another very strong upgrade timing lead. Important to note as well, that his armory is much better timed in his game number 2. So already we're seeing a little bit of the result of that warm-up coming down. And, oh, wow, kill on a cancel on that hatchery. Nice job from Lazander.
Yeah, that one is always very painful. Oh, actually, a third medevac has shown up here now with additional reinforcements, plus a little bit of mine for a fallback spot. Moving on forward, still no Baneling speed, of course, because that lair was a little bit later than the game. Great connection of that Widow mine. And, oh, some of these queens caught off creep. That's somewhat awkward here for Future Knights. Really, they're losing a lot of this defensive capability.
We have Lazander channeling that inner beyond that we talked about with the 2-1-1. The continued pressure, the follow-up, the huge Widow Mine connections, and just keeping pressure on. And now he's going to find so many queens. Oh, man, this is looking really, really rough for Future Knights. Oh, look at the positioning.
Oh, there are no Banelings here. Steadfast is in so much trouble. The lost queens are going to be falling as well. Now he starts morphing some Banelings, but I think it might be a little bit too late. Already taking a ton of economic damage. Could just gone down this hatchery, actually, if he wants to.
I think that's the right call. He's going to go for that. Should be able to even find these queens, and potentially there was 2 overlords that had just popped out as well. As long as he doesn't take huge Baneling connections, he is just hugely ahead, and he will load up. Unfortunately, a couple of Marines do get left on the beaches there, but he is just miles ahead, and his 2-2, it is well on the way, and I think that is the clock striking midnight for Future Knights once that 2-2 finishes up.
Yeah, not going to be many Future Knights, are there, huh?
Look at that. See, that's why we wanted you on here. That's why you're more valuable than Abe Lincoln.
Well, let's see. If we just take a moment now to assess the damage. 5,450 minerals lost. Only 100 gas, obviously, because not much there. But that's 14 drones, 60 Zerglings, 11 queens, and the 2 hatcheries. So many resources lost. And if you look at everything here for Lazada, barely anything.
Yeah, barely anything. Super funny that it's like so little gas for Future Knights, but that just means that I mean, like the resources are still the resources lost, and that is a devastatingly effective 2-on-1. This feels like the 2-on-1s that I used to face when I would just botch the defense super hard and just straight up die to them. And it does feel a little bit like those old school Beyond 2-on-1s.
Do you miss the days of when we had to hold on for that 10-minute stim timing when they'd push up your ramp, and if you land the force field, you're kind of okay, and if you miss the force field, you just die?
the GSL Season 1 vibes.
Oh yeah, God, it was so bad.
It was just terrible. Like, yeah, a lot of respect to being able to make that kind of commentary interesting.
Shakura's Plateau, where you needed 2 force fields.
the absolute game changer. And then what was the one map that was 4-gate every single game because there was no ramp at all?
Tal'Darim Altar.
Tal'Darim Altar. Yeah. The absolute meme of a map. And well, it is 2-2 so versus 0-0. And oh, Banelings almost get in, but not quite. And we are going to have Lazander moving on forward. Stim to win, baby. Oh, but that's, oh my God, the splits just going to be enough right there. And GG.
My God. That's actually so sick. Really nicely controlled it by Lazander. Future Knights, obviously, I think in that engagement could have split his Banelings a little bit further, but in those kinds of scenarios, you know, he's right on your doorstep. You're under a lot of pressure. Yeah, I think it's happened to the best of us that we hit that F2 key and then roll on forward.
Yes, absolutely. And, well, he looked at his opponent. He's like, I have a lot of Banelings. I am super far behind, but I am about to have a big opportunity. He's really far forward on creep. And maybe if I get a huge Baneling connection, I can turn this game around. But Lazander with that quick twitch micro gets his Marines all split up. Of course, he did have 2-2 versus 0-0, and yeah, that helps a lot. And it ends up working pretty damn well for Lazander right there, and kind of redeems himself a little bit. Cool to see.
You know, like there are some of these things that I'm like hyper aware of now. Like I said, coming back to StarCraft after having not really touched it much for a couple of years. And I don't think there's anything in my mind that is more like terrifying when you have that discrepancy in upgrades. If you think about that, right? Or you say it out loud, a 2-2 Terran versus a 0-0 Zerg. And I go back to any other game that I work with, and I look at like, I do a lot of Counter-Strike. And like, okay, these guys have like a full buy with, you know, rifles and stuff, and these guys have nothing. I'm still sort of like, yeah, you know, they can kind of do it. In StarCraft, you're up against 2-2. It's like, nah, he's just dead in the water, man. It's like, he's fucked.
Yeah, exactly. It is just a bad time top to bottom in that scenario. Like, there's not a whole lot that can be done.
No, it's just the power dynamic. I don't think it exists in the same way in anything else that I've really worked with, and it's just one of those things that, yeah. So, StarCraft is very cool. It has a lot of very interesting facets to it, and that's one of them. The upgrades interaction. Yeah,
it is very, very funny how it works out and how they kind of, I guess, mesh together. And it really does feel like Bio versus like Ling Bane is like the biggest, like TVZ more so than anything. Of course, Protoss players, they just love their attack upgrades because everything hits like a truck. Same thing with Mech. But
Wait,
yeah,
you
with
didn't get, you didn't get armor versus Terran?
well, against mech, usually not anymore.
Versus mech. Oh, no, screw
Yeah,
mech.
yeah, yeah. No, sorry. As mech, the attack upgrades are obviously much better. Armor upgrades are still great too, because of course late game air transitions, blah blah blah, all that stuff, and just making sure your units stay alive is good.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course. I didn't get a lobby invite steadfast.
Oh.
That's on you, buddy.
Okay, we are just going to ask them. Oh, did it cancel? Okay, oof. Because it kept, I like left the match, and then it kept it kept counting down, and I was like, oh no, now there's no casters.
God, that's one of the most like terrible feelings when you're doing something like this. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna go into this lobby, and then you can see that both players like in game. You're like, oh, that's definitely happened a couple of times. But hey, it's good to be back anyway. Sort of easing myself into it. I think last time I did any StarCraft casting, I did was that like an EPT qualifier with Pengi?
Oh yeah?
I think that was it. Yeah, like in early December maybe. I'm not entirely sure. Like it was a couple of months ago at least. And then you came along and invited me to this. But it's really fun to get back into. So again, I very much so appreciate it.
Well, like I said,
Thanks.
it's my pleasure. I'm happy to do it and happy to have you here.
Feels so rusty that it's hard, man. It's very different. Like here, you actually have to say intelligent things when casting StarCraft in comparison to like CS and PUBG.
I feel like when you're casting at least CS:GO, you need to, for the most part, be pretty analytical. I feel, but
it's like analytical in a different way. We can talk about that a little bit as things ramp up. But hey, man.
No, I'm definitely down for that.
You gotta do the thing.
All right, the thing is now done. And here we have spawning down in the bottom left, representing Shopify, not Spotify. It is the team captain, Alefnot, representing the Against Malaria Foundation. Alefnot.
Yeah, we'll figure that one out as we go.
Oh, I can read it now. Cool.
Huh. Well, of course, his opponent once again going to be Zug. And donning the red colors, it's going to be Epic Systems Z-Man, or Zaman. Not really sure on that one either.
Yeah.
Alefnot was good. I like that though.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's a super cool dude too. He does a lot of stuff. We've had some good interviews with him. We'll be getting some interviews with the team captains, by the way, after these matches. So make sure to stick around after they do finish up. And we do have. Epic Systems representing Doctors Without Borders, of course, a great charity. But we got to talk about what's going on right here. This is a 12-pool Ravager build.
Oh,
Ravager.
God. Wasn't this Sue's build to begin with, like originally back in 2016? Right?
Was it? I don't remember the origin, but I remember for quite a while it was a just devastatingly powerful build. And I think this is a great way to try and overcome a little bit of a disparity in terms of skill level. We do have Z-Man a little bit lower rated. He's a diamond player, but Alefnot did say he is trying to learn the core now, trying to learn a new hotkey setup. Microing when you don't know your hotkey setup very well, when things are still so deliberate, is actually an incredibly difficult thing to do. So this could be really, really difficult to deal with here for Alefnot.
Yeah. I guess the one thing that sort of concerns me a little bit is like we're here on Gigantha, and there's a very long map. So getting across is going to take some time.
Oh, yeah.
This Reaper now coming out here from Alefnot. He is going to show up here and see, hey, there's no natural expansion. Obviously, he knows something's going to be up, and probably see him drop that bunker immediately. You can see the factory on the way. Now he actually sees the Ravagers. And Z-Man, he can't waste any time. He has to go across immediately.
Oh, this one. Oh, God, the Reaper's going to get in, and there's actually nothing in the mineral line right now. This could be really, really bad. But Alefnot, he has the Reaper just on rally. Look at that. Takes a grand tour and then just pops on out. Now, it is really, really important to note that Alefnot built this, or did not scout with an SCV, so he built everything on the low ground. But because Z-Man kind of got delayed there a little bit, This this does give Alifnaut the time he needs to get these bunkers up on the high ground. And, well, important to note as well, that Marine just went down. There's nothing to put in these bunkers at the moment.
Oh, I would actually love it if he target fire down this reactor, because that would immediately cut the production in half here now for Alifnaut. Already, though, he's dropping that starport, so, I mean, he's feeling confident that they will be able to hold and stall out this game. Oh, the Marine spawned on the wrong side of this barracks, and GG! Immediately, Z-Man just closes the game outright.
And we talked about preparation and how it can be a killer.
Wow.
And
wow.
Yeah.
Love it.
Look at the upset right now, and all of a sudden we have the defending champions of the league down 2-1 with the ace player of Epic Systems coming up in the next match in the form of Pancakes. This is a very, very interesting match already. I gotta say, that's very cool, but we have Alifnaut in the chat saying, wow, these man's bullying. I already said that I'm learning a new hotkey setup, and you come here and you hit me with that?
Yeah, they're saying in chat there, sorry I had to do it. Don't be sorry, you do what you gotta do.
Yeah, Alifnaut, of course.
Once I'm a hotkey god.
Alifnaut with, of course, a great attitude, as I mentioned, the captain of Shopify, not Spotify. And we did see last season where they did drop some maps in the regular season and didn't finish with the best record overall, but once playoffs came around, they were like, okay, now it's serious business time. Our ace player is going to play his real race. I'll have learned my new hotkey setup by then, and they did totally fine, winning the whole league.
Hey, can I, to bring us back, by the way, to like how friendly Alifnaut seems to be, is one of those things that, if anything, has really stood out to me in my time away from StarCraft 2. Jesus Christ, man. Do I miss the community around StarCraft when I'm doing things with other non-StarCraft communities, if I can put it that way. How you sort of don't appreciate things until they're gone.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not to say that the StarCraft community is gone. You guys are still here. I mean, you're here. You're keeping it alive together with many of my other good friends. So thank you for, taking the reins when I sort of departed. And thank you for letting me back into the house, I guess you could say.
Well, yeah, no, it's, I mean, like I said, we're glad to have you back. Been holding down the fort for sure. Of course, as you mentioned, the StarCraft community is super passionate and some really great people in it. It's
just the best community.
Yeah.
Don't
for me, it's
me, man.
It's definitely my favorite for sure. Yeah, and a lot of super hardworking people, passionate people. We have some people who just abandon it sometimes, but that's okay. They're welcome back at any time.
Sweats.
But yeah, no, I mentioned that we are going to be having the ace coming in here for Epic Systems, and we are having something else very cool coming in. I believe it is a random player going to be popping in here for the Shopify, not Spotify team, Incarnate. He has... Well, okay, I want to talk about this a little bit because it's a really, really interesting dynamic. The way that it works out is random players are, of course, very strong in tournament play, not being able to know your opponent's race, but specifically against Protoss. There is a very...
The bane of my existence, man.
Yep. And, well, why don't you talk about it? You obviously, know the meme, and you can explain it, I'm sure.
It's so bad. Like, I think Protoss, out of all races, we're probably the ones that feel it the most when we go into it blind, because we're forced to go for the gate on the high ground. We use it in the wall off, and it can set you back so far. It's just, you start in a very uncomfortable position. I'm probably not moving in the direction you were hoping I was with whatever the meme was.
That's exactly what I was talking about. The meme was only that I remember there was like a clip of Rotterdam, and he was playing against Alex 007, the caster from...
Oh yeah, the Russian caster. Yeah,
Russian caster. Yeah. I was thinking
Ukrainian caster. Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, he's like Alex, cheeky boy Alex, and he's playing his thing. He builds the gateway on the high ground, and he's not being BM about it at all. He's just like, he sees it his opponent's Zerg, and he's just like, GG, and leaves. And he's like, yep, that's not even gonna play it out, because he was like, well, it's I just don't even want to deal with it, and that's how Protoss players feel some of the time.
Oh, dude, 100%. I mean, I'm sure you feel that as well when you go up against random, right, on the ladder. Even though it's fairly rare to see nowadays, but like once in a blue moon you will, and you're like, oh Christ. Points, I guess.
Yeah, I will say it's not as bad for Zerg because you can pretty much open up hatch first in every matchup, as long as you're keeping your overlord in a decent position such that you're true. Like.
But do you drone scout additionally then, like if it's a random play, just to check like proxy location, just to be safe, or?
Usually not. No, usually not. I'm a greedy boy. I'm a bit of a greedy bastard.
Classic Zerg. Look at I love Incarnate's header as well, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Like his little thing. It's the slot machine with the races. That's so good because it's very appropriate as to what we're going to see here potentially. I'm actually really keen. What was the name of that liquid player? Was it Balloon?
My Insanity Balloon. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Balloon, yeah. And he was actually on Startail at one point.
But that's him, right? That was a random player. It was like the Korean who played random.
Yes, it absolutely was. Yeah, you are right about that.
Nice. Yeah, I'm glad I remembered that correctly. But hey, you know what? Take it away. Start with the thing, the intro.
All right, let's go with the thing. Spawning up in the top right position of the map, representing Shopify, not Spotify. It is the random player. Got to bring it back for his team to force that ace match. The green player, Incarnate.
Cool name. Really like that, actually. His opponent, though, in the bottom left, in the red, also Protoss, it is Pancakes.
Representing those epic systems. And, well, this is kind of an ideal scenario for him in this setup to begin with. But it is a little bit unfortunate that, never mind. Okay, he's just going to open up double gate regardless of who it was. Now, if his opponent had been Terran, that would have been a little bit unfortunate. But since his opponent is Protoss, this is very much okay for him.
I think, like, even in the circumstance of if Incarnate had spawned as Zerg, the 2-gate opening isn't too bad, because if you go into double adept, then already there, like, you can put on a lot of pressure over towards the third base as you just establish a slightly delayed natural anyway. So I think Pancakes, yeah, he's responding very appropriately. Hasn't rushed out his second gas, which this might be a thing that comes back to bite him, though, because PvP is very heavily focused on having that gas count up and running fairly early on.
And I wanted to point this out right here.
Oh, no, Incarnate.
Look,
you bad boy.
Look at the amount of probes we have on minerals, and look at the amount of gas that Incarnate already has. This is going to be proxy voids. We're going to see it here. The meme is alive.
You hate to see it.
Pancakes, I don't even think he knows. Yeah, he has not scouted yet. He is just now scouting with a probe, and he is going to see a single gateway. Actually, no, he won't even see this. As long as the Stalker... Oh, man, this might even kill his opponent's probe before he sees there's only one gate. Oh, Incarnate... Oh, no, no. Oh, okay. Oh, this is very, very important. Does he get up the ramp? Oh, yes. He just barely sees up the ramp. Okay.
Okay, steadfast. Seeing only one gateway, you immediately know that this is some sort of tech-heavy play or proxy play. And instantly, you can see it right there. He sends it over towards this very common proxy location. Perfect response from Pancakes. Now, however, he needs to, I would say, like, honestly, maybe even pull 2 or 3 probes just to make sure that he can ward off this Stalker before this Voider gets chronoed out, because once this hits the field with prismatic alignment, that's going to be really painful. But good target fire on this pylon. He will be able to power that down. And remember, he pushed that probe back earlier, so he effectively shuts this down. Pancakes, what a legend.
Yeah, that was actually really great. Incarnate definitely needed to throw down a second pylon for this. I don't think he was expecting the double gate opener, and I really, really love that he went for this build. But Pancakes, oh man, if Incarnate had blocked the scout, I think this could have been GG. I think those proxy voids probably end up getting up, and then you start building the shield batteries right here. Things just get really, really out of hand. But instead, Pancakes loses a single probe for the scout, kills off Stargate, probe, and a proxy pylon, and he is just miles ahead right now. And that means that means that the Shopify, not Spotify, is in a really, really tough position to start things off here.
Yeah,
They could get knocked out in this game number 4.
Yeah, they certainly could. Already that great target fire. I love how decisive Pancakes is jumping in on this one before any of these shield batteries have a chance to finish. And even if it is so that Encounter manages to somehow deflect this off of the back of, what, 2 gateways? Which I highly doubt, by the way. This is
nice,
fantastic. Man, Pancakes, what a guy. GG, there it is. Encounter has to tap out.
And that's our first series right there. We've got the Epic Systems, by all accounts, upsetting Shopify, not Spotify, in our first match of the day. And wow, what a great result for Epic Systems. That is incredible. And I mean, any closing thoughts before we go to some interviews here, Tenchi?
I just want to highlight the fact that he immediately goes to the double gateway opening, right? He went gate, gas, gate, instead of chroning out the extra 2 probes that you usually see, or jumping on that second gas. And because he had those extra minerals, that double production is what saved him. If it's only a single gateway, which is the most common thing that you'd see, you know, granted if you were doing like a PVT or whatever like that, then he wouldn't have had enough, because then all of a sudden it's a 1-on-1 for the Stalker, and then you have the probe additionally. The Voider would definitely have had time to pop out. It all comes down to that second gateway. Super nicely played.
Yeah. That's very, very well put, actually. And I think we are going to just put up a break screen, and we will be right back for the interviews. So we are back once again. You might have noticed this is not one of the team captains here. This is actually Tenchi once again. And that's because the players have agreed, the 2 teams have agreed to play the ace match anyways. And I say, you know, that's pretty cool. And by the way, Zero, it was not a fluke that he played Zerg in that first game. He has decided that I am Flash, and Terran is too easy for me. So for the regular season, he is going to be playing Zerg. He's going to be playing a hard race.
That's cool though. I like that. I can see the appeal in doing something like that. It's also a great way to challenge yourself and, you know, sort of broaden your horizons a little bit. No?
Oh, definitely. I would say 100%. I think it's a really smart way of trying to look at the game, and it's going to let you kind of find maybe opponents' weaknesses.
Yes.
In interesting ways. And I actually think that is a really, really cool aspect of it. And I'm really curious to see how it'll work out. And I'm excited as well.
That's probably one of the things that I think is one of the great strengths of being able to competently play as random, right? Because now all of a sudden you're on the receiving end of whatever thing, you know, you're always doing, right? Which gives you, or it can be very useful for, you know, getting a little bit of perspective and understanding when and how are these builds fragile at what times in the game, or
exactly.
You know, when can I expect an attack to be showing up? Like at what time should I be attacking, etc., etc. There are a lot of things that you can really learn from it, and I think just being able to play random like that, it's a nice thing to fall back on. I've been playing a bunch of random. Like I think the times where I have been playing StarCraft just in my free time, I've always gone on to play some random, because I think it's just a fun way to sort of, I guess, keep you on your toes.
Yeah, you're forced to think about the game a lot more. And I find that when I play a lot, I can oftentimes switch my brain right off. And that is the death of progress.
Oh, God, yeah.
Anytime that you're just not thinking about the game. But yeah, playing random, like you said, really, really great way to learn weaknesses. And yeah,
Have you dabbled in Protoss yet then?
I haven't, but that's actually, it's funny because I genuinely feel like I understand the race better than I do Zerg, and I've played Zerg for like 10 years. But
That's
just because of
interesting.
all the casting I've been doing, and like I'll look at it stuff and I'll be like, ooh, like player should do this, or player is planning this, and then it's like, yes, player was planning this, player did this, and that was right play.
Okay. Yeah, no, but I buy that. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey man, we're back in it though.
That we are. And spawning up in the top left, already delivering his team the win that he needs, but we are playing for fun here because it's all for charity, it's all for fun, it's all for community. It is Epic Systems Pancakes in the red.
And very appropriately sporting the green flag today is going to be Shopify, not Spotify's Zero. And as you said before, he has decided to play Zerg for the remainder of this season, which I think is a cool little switch up. By the way, I think, was that a 13 pool?
I think this was a 12 pool.
Okay.
It would be really interesting if he did go for a 13 pool, just because 12 pool is like a very straightforward build that, you know, you build your lings, you do your stuff, and you try and get damage done. 13 pool is a little bit more nuanced, and well, I think you might actually be right. I think that actually might be a 13 pool because he's floating a fair bit of, yeah, that was definitely a 13 pool. So good spot there. Yeah, who's the analysis here? It's definitely not the Zerg player.
It's one of those things where, you know, like I'm always looking at the pool timing because like from way back when 6 pool was still a thing, I'm the kind of protest who would always not pylon scout. So like I'm always super paranoid about the pool timing. So I'm always looking at those whenever I'm casting games.
And well, you're important. I'm very glad that you brought it up because this is a very, very weird scenario. And Pancakes has cut the scout, but he has gone for a gate next to Cybernetics Core. Cybernetics Core is a little bit late, and he did build a Zealot first, and now he's going for a second Zealot as well. But he's not going to have a wall to prevent these lings from running into the main base.
Yeah, but the fact that he chronos a second Zealot is actually really nice little added flair. Having double Zealot makes deflecting essentially like even up to 12 lings relatively easy because you can still pull probes to additionally assist. A bit clumsy here though with the additional control. Already losing 2 probes. Yeah, this is actually some great damage from Zero.
Yeah, and this is a relatively small committal. 3 probes, already almost 4. This is big problems right here. And if he gets home with these Zerglings, oh my god. Is he gonna go to the natural? No, he's gonna go on home. And so Pancakes has already put 3 chronos into units, so he is really hurting. Oh, but look at this from Zero. Oh my god.
Ooh, let's
memes
go,
and a half.
Wow, this is something I haven't seen in a million years, Steadfast. I'm actually so glad that we jumped in to cast this extra game.
Yeah, so am I. This is speedless Ling Bane all in.
What year is this?
Oh my god, he almost got the Adept trapped.
That could have been spicy.
Very much so.
What year is this, man? Like, this is a throwback, if anything. He's making more lings. 6 more in production. There's a few more pop, and he's actually got the units on the opposite side of the map. No sentry. He's going for an Adept, of course. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because you're thinking behind this, 9 out of 10 Zergs are going to transition into going for the economic follow-up. Not the case in this one.
No, it is not. And, well, Pancakes. Oh, he did not get far enough in to count that drone count. So we do not see him throwing down shield batteries. Shield batteries are what he needs right this second. But Zero morphing in Banes right now. If he can depower this pylon, that might just be it.
Okay, he sees the Baneling. Now, okay, he has to get these units back in and drop an extra gateway. He has to drop it right now. There you go. There it is. But, moving the units out of the way means he can pop the gateway easily, and the lings will get through.
Yes, they will. Unfortunately, those Banelings did go off on the Zealot, which is not ideal. I think you want to be going after the pylon, but it's actually going to be all the probes heading back into the main base. 33 workers right now for Pancakes. If he can hold on, he will be very far ahead, but he is going to lose a lot of workers in the meantime. Oh, the splits from Pancakes. Not bad to start things off. These Banelings, though.
That could be so tasty. Oh, that's a decent hit. 14 probes have gone down. But honestly, not catastrophic damage comparing, obviously, the fact that there's still a worker advantage for Pancakes. And Zero only has that natural expansion. 14 more lings on the way. Now speed is going to be finishing up here shortly, but I I mean, he's contained the initial first wave, and that's always the one that you hinge on doing the most amount of damage.
Yes, it absolutely is. And look at how many probes are deep in the red. That means they were hit with a Baneling, but did not quite die. And if those had been all taken out, I think Pancakes is dead. But we do have Zero. He is continuing on with this. Like you said, that link speed is done. Now, Pancakes was very, very late to build this shield battery, and it may still end up biting him here. He does have his warp gate finished up, going to be able to warp in some units, but he doesn't have much gas.
He needs to get a sentry here, man.
Still only on the one gas.
He can afford one sentry, and then that's going to be it. Well, now we have to really spread out these units, trying to go for the gateway. Oh, it's so low on HP.
Oh, that warp in. He needs to save this. Oh, the gateway saves it with 26 HP.
Oh, with the shield battery overcharge as well. That is so incredibly clutch. What a play by Pancakes.
That was so insanely close. Even the Banelings almost taking out that shield battery. If one more Baneling had connected with that shield battery, that would have been a dead shield battery and a dead Pancakes. But now he holds on. He is up, what is that, 16 workers? And Zero is finally going to start to transition.
Yeah, but with this amount of damage dealt, I don't know if it's enough. What's going to happen now is that the attention or the focus is going to shift over towards Pancakes' follow-up. Now, effectively, he can do whatever he wants on the map because it puts Zero in this really awkward position of Pancakes can still comfortably warp in 2 units at a time, and he can still pose enough of a significant threat that Zero can't just blindly drone up. Now, obviously, he has this spotting overlord, which is going to show him just exactly how much we're seeing being invested here now from the Protoss side of things, so it is going to give him a little bit of more breathing space, right? But there's no third base. He's just now adding in more drones, dropping a Roach Warren, going into that lair. His economy in shambles, 28 drones, that's nothing.
Yeah, that is a really, really poor economy. And Pancakes, a big fan of the move he's going to be going for right now, and that is big, big charge lot plays off of a very low gas economy. We can see he never added on a second gas, and normally it can run into some trouble if your opponent knows that it's coming, but in this particular scenario, as you highlighted, the extremely low drone count from Zero, this is going to be a nightmare. Now, he does have that Baneling tech, and he's building 2 spines at homes, but he needs to hit huge Baneling connections to have any chance of this, and he still hasn't even started morphing Banelings yet.
Yeah, and another problem is going to be the fact that obviously now, just so quick to get across the map, the spines aren't even done. I think that this is it. Zero's just dead, man. Now he's going to start morphing some Banelings, but he doesn't even have enough gas to get more than 3.
Yeah, he was trying to put them into roaches. Does have a few popping out at the natural, but he is going to lose this hatchery. And the Zealots, well, they're just going to disengage right here. Oh, we have Zero trying to get this around, but the recall will come down. And actually, I don't know if I agree with that decision, because a few of the units that were recalled did end up going down. And then he just loses the rest of the Zealots. But even with all that, this is a Zerg who's on 1 base against a Protoss that is adding on Immortals against Roaches.
Yeah, now with the Warp Prism out as well, this is going to give Pancakes even more of an imposing map presence. He still has a decent Zealot count, popping in a handful of Stalkers now as well after he saw that threat of the Roaches. For Pancakes' his position, you know, I'm feeling really happy about this one. Like, if I'm in his shoes, he's got the Immortal coming out, like you mentioned. He's got that third gas up and running. He could easily go for a third base if he wants. Zero can't really contest it and do much here. So, you know, effectively, Zero's kind of dead in the water unless he gets like a miraculous connection with the few Banelings that he has.
Yeah, no, I would say he is very, very much so, kind of, like you said, dead in the water. And we have to remember that this is not his main race. So playing from a position of disadvantage that's one of those things that's really, really hard to kind of figure out, especially once the game has started weird. And, well, I don't think Zero's going to have the answer. Oh, no, that's going to be 3 Overlords getting picked off right here. And, well, Pancakes is just so far ahead right now. It really can't even be quantified how far ahead.
Yeah,
I mean, he can, but...
I mean, he could move Command this army and lose it, and he'd be fairly okay. Oh, wait. What is going on here? A couple of Lings actually made their way into the main base. Is that a...
Did he drop them?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, that's sick. And now well... Okay, I was going to say, if the charge lots all connect on those Banelings, or if the Banelings, I should say, all connect on the charge lots, that could have been pretty good for Zero. but they will not, and they are absolutely just wrecking face right here, and I think this is just going to be too much to deal with. Pancakes is going to lose the Immortal, but he's going to kill all of his opponent's army, killed all the drones at the natural as well, and GG will get called. Looks like Pancakes is going to be able to take this one down.
That's fantastic. I love the fact that Pancakes kind of stopped microing because it was like, yeah, I just have enough. So completely overwhelm you. But that was a really exciting and interesting game from both sides. Man, like so much of that came down to, as you pointed out, in that natural we had like what, 12 probes in red HP.
Yeah.
Imagine the difference if you managed to kill those off.
Yeah, and there was a couple times where you saw kind of the inexperience of Zero with Zerg coming in, and you have to be very, very precise with Banelings. If you click on a building, it's not like you swing your Zealot Blade and it's like, oh, okay, I wasted an attack. No, the unit just dies, and it doesn't achieve the objective you wanted. And we saw that happen probably 4 or 5 times, and you know, nothing against Zero. It's not easy to do that, but that is the kind of thing that kind of comes with not having that that big knowledge.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, like you again to go back to what you mentioned, right? That we saw that not only the gateway that was really close there to 26 HP before we overcharged our shield battery, but then the shield battery itself, you know, was also being jeopardized, at least for a moment there. So there were a lot of points in time where that game could have heavily shifted in the favor of Zero, but just narrowly didn't.
It was incredibly razor's edge.
It was super fun, super fun game.
Yeah, I agree. And well, we are going to say goodbye to Tenchi now for real for a little bit as we head on into the interviews with the 2 team captains. We will be back. It's going to be Alifnaut and Pancakes, and well, actual interviews. We will be right back. Stick around. All right, everyone, welcome back after that brief break. Thanks for sticking around. We are joined by none other than Pancakes, the captain of Epic Systems, the winning team, the champion, if I may. And congratulations on your exciting Week 1 victory. How does it feel to defeat the defending champions?
Feels pretty good. I mean, I think it was a match I mean, I was not necessarily expecting to win. I mean, I don't necessarily think that they fielded their strongest lineup, but it still feels pretty good.
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely, I know, you know, with Zero playing Zerg with the off race to start the season, and I actually think they still fielded a pretty strong roster. They still had a few Masters players. And at the end of the day, a win is a win. And yeah, it's definitely nice to start things off with a victory there. Now, we saw specifically in your game there in game number 4 that clinched it for your team. You went up against a random player in Incarnate. Why don't you talk a little bit about the approach you had there? I saw you opened up double gate off the one gas. Is that just kind of like trying to be like a catch-all build, or what was the play and what went through your head when you found that proxy Stargate?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a build that I think is pretty good against both Terran and Protoss. I think. I mean, I guess I just generally as a player don't really like to send out an early worker scout. I think that I like having as much minerals as I can, so I think I kind of prefer against random to sort of take the approach of I'm just gonna try to sort of do a build that's like pretty good against everything, and then yeah, I mean, and sort of, I mean, a lot of the randoms I play on ladder will end up worker scouting me, and then like I find out their race from that.
Congratulations, you played yourself type of thing. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it worked out. As soon as you saw the Protoss, you checked that location. Very smart decision, and of course, it paid great dividends. Now we did end up playing the ace match for fun there against Zero. Of course, he was playing Zerg, but there were some stressful moments there. How did it feel having those banelings, I guess, kind of waddling around, trying to sneak in your mineral lines?
Yeah, that was definitely. I sort of thought that I had lost the game at that point. You know, I mean, not like that it was completely over, but sort of thought that I'd probably be dead. But I thought, yeah, you know, I just gotta like, you know, try to spread out my workers and run them away, and like, you know, I mean, I have a lot of workers to lose, so as long as I can still keep like about a base worth of workers, like I should still be in a playable spot. And in fact, I think I was able to keep a little bit more than that. I still had about like 6 to send back up to my main after that was all done. So at that point, I think I kind of realized that I was in a pretty good spot, but it was definitely like very scary in that moment when.
Yeah, it looked super stressful, but like you said, you did quite a good job of splitting those workers, and you're able to hold it off pretty effectively. I gotta say, that's the first time I've seen a speedless Ling Bane all in a very, very long time in ZVP. Almost feels like if you were to describe like the 10 pool Baneling build from Heart of the Swarm to a player and told them to do it now. Uh, but yeah, at the end of the day, great job from your team. Is there anyone you want to shout out on the team? You want to give them a little bit of thanks or anything you want to talk about with the team? I know you guys have been in the league for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone played pretty well today. I mean, um, Zeman was able to beat a player ranked quite a bit higher, and like, I think that, I mean, I was definitely nervous that like Zero was, you know, going to pull out Terran in the ace match, and like, you know, having Zeman win that game sort of like took a lot of stress off me. And then also I think Lysander played, you know, in the first game especially, like it felt very close. And like the engagements were done really well, and I think like economy was just a little bit behind. And then like the second game as well was pretty clean. So yeah, I think we all played pretty well today. It was unfortunate that we weren't able to get a fourth player. We have us three that are like pretty committed and playing every week, and then we have about 4 other players that play occasionally, and like usually we're able to get one of them to play.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, organizing this kind of stuff can definitely be tricky. But I mean, at the end of the day, you got your 3 wins and were able to take it down. Now, you guys are supporting. It's the Doctors Without Borders, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super awesome. I mean, the league, of course, is for charity, and it's cool to see. That's great. And well, do you want to talk about that at all, or is that I know you mentioned it in the last season. It's just, you know, it's a great charity, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a healthcare software company, it's just very, you know, closely related to our mission as a company. So, um, so yeah, that's why we want to support it.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And well, I always ask this, especially towards the beginning of the season. I mean, first of all, great win, congratulations. And what are, I guess, the goals for the team for the season?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think, like last season we were able to just sort of barely make it into um, the placement bracket. I think that that's something that we'd like to try to do again. And then in playoffs, I would say like maybe try to improve our performance from like round of 8 to round of 4. But
Yeah, fair enough. That makes sense. That's it's a good goal. And well, hopefully we get a chance to see that throughout the season. See you guys continue to grow, and congratulations on your week 1 season win. And thanks so much for joining me. Have a wonderful afternoon.
all right, you too.
I don't know.
All right, everyone. We are back with another interview here. We are joined by the trophy from the the winning team here. We've got the Spotify dropshippers. Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. What's the deal with that? I'm joined by Alifnot, by the way. How are you doing today?
Yeah, hey, I'm doing good. Yeah, so the story is that last season, when we won, they sent us a trophy, and the trophy did not say the right thing. So, we got the CEA to send us a replacement trophy so we could have our name properly displayed for our achievement. But just to make fun of them for their mistake, our name this season is Shopify and not Spotify. Just hopefully they learn this time what our name is.
Yeah, I'm sure they have the reference material. I'm sure that's that's the kind of mistake that they'll never make twice. But I mean, that brings us to our next point. You guys are the defending champs. That's pretty cool. And of course, by the way, they did send you that other thing. So you have 2 trophies, which is kind of cool. And
Yeah, they did
honestly,
send us a replacement that had the corrected name.
it is a nice trophy, by the way. I do like it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But well, you guys are the defending champions. It was kind of cool because the season last season closed with 0, and this season technically opened with 0, which is kind of neat little bit of symmetry. Now, let's talk a little bit about the game itself. Obviously, you guys, you're taking the regular season a little bit easily. You've got 0 playing Zerg, and you're learning a new hotkey setup. You're trying to learn the core, I know, but that was a strong opponent that you end up against, and yeah, a little bit of a tough loss.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, Johns. Like they played well and they deserve the win. But we'll be back with a vengeance later on in the season or maybe in the playoffs. So they better watch out.
Ooh, I like it. And well, you guys are an incredibly strong team, and I know you will bounce back for sure. Just opening of the season, but yeah, it's what have you guys been up to in the off season? Has everyone been practicing up? Is just kind of taking some time off, or what's it been like for you guys?
It's been pretty exciting. I know I personally did a lot of practice over the off season. I got 3 accounts up to 4.7k over the off season, which was my I've never been able to consistently get to that MMR before. Like I've had peaks above there, but being able to like get 3 accounts there shows that it's more like the real deal. But after I was grinding pretty hard for about 6 weeks, and I started having some wrist pain, which is why I'm switching the hotkey setup now. So I'm hoping I can at least get back to. I doubt I'll get back to the same MMR anytime soon, but at least back to masters within a few weeks. But right now, as you saw, that's pretty bush league unit control, or lack of unit control rather. So there's a long way to go still.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it was he did a build that was probably the most difficult to deal with when dealing with micro situations. Dealing with 12 pull Ravager without having perfect command of your hotkeys is always going to be an extremely difficult scenario.
Oh yeah, it was excellent build choice. They clearly were coached well. can't fault him for executing that build well.
No, definitely not. And yeah, the smart move. But I'm sure that's going to paint a bit of a target on their back. You already mentioned you want revenge, and well, if last season is any indication, I think they'll definitely have to watch themselves a little bit.
Well,
Now, you guys have been in the league for a while. Of course, you are a part of Shopify. You guys had some exciting news with Toby recently and with the Rebellion. First things first, I mean, I assume no, because it's probably separate, but did you guys know about it? And if so, was that the kind of thing where you were like, oh man, like, can't wait for this? Or is that just you guys found out at the same time as the community?
oh yeah, no, we knew since, like, we've known for months. I actually personally knew, like, even before it was announced, like, internally.
Ooh.
But, you know, we were, like, super excited. And I also didn't know it was going to be Beyond for a while. Like, I heard really early on that we were trying to put something together along these lines. But when I actually heard the lineup, I was, like, super, super excited. Because I knew that a lot of, like, other teams had tried to court Beyond, but he's kind of like a solo kind of guy. So he kind of rejected a lot of other offers. So the fact that we got him is, like, really awesome. I actually know that a big part of why that happened is that TLO started saying, hey, let's go after Beyond, like, early on before he broke out. Like, we were targeting him before his Asus ROG victory.
Very nice.
So a lot of people, like, you know, people were like, oh shit, this Beyond guy, we should pay him a bunch of money. But we got to him first, you know?
Nice.
Yeah.
So you showed him the respect very early on. That is actually really, really cool. And that's the kind of thing that I actually would never have thought of, but that's really neat. And it goes to show, like, how smart of a, like, person TLO is. Like, he recognizes what it takes to succeed, and he sees when players are doing that.
Yeah, he knew exactly, like, he called it before it happened.
That's incredible. That's really, really like StarSense based on StarSense based on, like, actual stuff happening in real life. Which
he has like 6.5k game sense for recruiting players. It's awesome.
Literally, is approaching 7k now at this point with picking up Beyond. But I mean, talking about your guys' team once again, you obviously are the defending champions. It's got to be you're got to be looking to run it back, right? It's got to be.
Well, we're hoping to, but TSO finally decided, you know, he's had enough of StarCraft. So without our Ace Slayer, it's going to be tough. But we're going to practice. We got some new players. And the other thing that's exciting is that Shopify is actually running 2 teams in the league this year, not just one. So we're likely to be able to play our, like, higher rated players for more of the regular season. So we should be able to get a higher seed. We're obviously not going, like, super, super tryhards. We probably won't get first. But we had a really tough bracket last season, starting 7th. So it likely won't be that difficult this season.
That's
so there's definitely some good stuff going for us this season, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a notable difference, and can definitely have some very cool results as things progress throughout the season. Now, shifting gears a little bit, you guys are supporting I believe it's the Against Malaria?
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah, Against Malaria Foundation. You've talked about it before, but yeah, why don't you talk about it again? Tell us about the charity a little bit.
Yeah, I talk about this every season, but I'll talk about it again. So the Against Malaria Foundation is one of the highest rated charities in terms of the amount of good, or, like, amount of suffering that they can prevent per dollar donated. So if you're trying to alleviate suffering in the world as efficiently as possible, they're a great charity to donate to. They're not the only great charity. There's a lot of other ones. If you're interested, Google effective altruism. But they're definitely an effective one, and I like them a lot. So I'm really glad that we were able to donate money to an effective cause last season when we won, and I'm hoping we can do that again this season.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And like you said, you guys were able to win it for the charity, which is always a really nice, warm, fuzzy feel. And hopefully you guys will make another deep run as well. It'll be cool to see the two Shopify teams, how they do kind of stack up. And, well, that's gonna be it for now. Before I let you go, is there anything you want to say? Anything you want to shout out or whatnot, or any warnings you want to issue to other teams throughout the season?
Not really. Just like shout outs to Toby and TLO for supporting the StarCraft scene so amazingly. Like we're all so grateful that they do the stuff they do. That's all I would say.
Awesome. And yeah, I want to echo that. Big thanks to Toby. He is like legitimately total biscuiting the scene, you know, like he is like going hard, just supporting everywhere, and it's really cool to see. And I'm excited to see what a TLO led Shopify Rebellion can do, and I'm excited to see what an Aleph not Shopify not Spotify led team can do. And as always, it's a pleasure to have you on. Hopefully next time we can get the webcam working, but for now I'm pretty happy with this meme.
Yeah,
And
it worked out. It's all good.
oh, it definitely worked out. This is perfect. And well, that's gonna do it for me. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you back throughout the season.
You too. See ya.